The inhabitants. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Param Guru A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. O best of the Brahmins, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, take place. I'll take the translation again. O best of the Brahmins, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, take place. So, Bhaktivedanta purport. The inhabitants of different varieties of land, etc., are differently situated, and not all of them are equal in all respects. The inhabitants of the land are different from the inhabitants of the water or the sky. And similarly, the inhabitants of the different planets and stars in the sky are also different from one another. By the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant, but the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. Even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. They are so made according to different qualities of the modes of nature. Such adjustment by the laws of nature is not blind. There is a great plan behind the arrangement. Maharaj Parikshit requests the great sage Shukadeva Goswami to explain all these authoritatively in accordance with proper understanding. Om Ajana Timrandasya Jana Jana Shalakaya Chakshir Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Mano Bishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swamin Itinamini Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Statatmane Shri Guru Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Itinamini Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastachadi Shatarine Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gora Tvishe Namaha Vanchakalpa Taribhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Brahmanya Devayago Brahmana Hetaya Cha Jagaditaya Krishnaya Govindaya Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Guru Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 8, text number 15. This is Maharaj Parikshit speaking to Shukadeva Goswami, and he's actually asking a question. O best of the Brahmins, please also describe how the creation of the globes throughout the universe, the four directions of the heavens, the sky, the planets, the stars, the mountains, the rivers, the seas, and the islands, as well as their different kinds of inhabitants, takes place. Hare Krishna. So this subject matter, this question by Maharaj Parikshit is a very detailed and a very deep cosmological question. And unfortunately, I am not expert in cosmology, even in material cosmology. So what to speak of Vedic cosmology? So I will attempt to share whatever little I know about this question that Maharaj Parikshit has put before Shukadeva Goswami. We should remember, or we should note, that the whole of this chapter, chapter 8 of Canto 2, is titled Questions Asked by Maharaj Parikshit. And the entire chapter is very amazing. In this particular age, when someone asks another person just one question, by the time the question is ended, you've already forgotten the question. So how do you even answer? But the entire chapter is basically questions put forth by Maharaj Parikshit. He asked so many questions, and all the questions are very intelligent and very necessary and important for all conditioned souls in this material world. So this is one of the questions that Maharaj Parikshit has asked. And the answer is not found in this chapter. All the questions Maharaj Parikshit asked in this chapter, chapter 8, are answered in chapters 9 and 10. So we're going to try to speak a little bit about what Srila Prabhupada says in the purport. Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport that the Lord, the Supreme Lord, Shri Krishna, he asks, guides, and engages Lord Brahma, the secondary creator, to create all the planets and all the inhabitants within the planets. So in each and every particular universe, there is a universal head who is called Brahma. We understand that our Brahma has 4 heads. And this particular Brahma with 4 heads, he is the one in charge of all the planetary systems within the universe. He is the one in charge of all the living and non-living beings within the universe. And so, if we look at beautiful cities in our own world, this Earth planet, there are some beautiful cities within this world with very amazing architectural work. There is one building I saw in Singapore, and it's very amazing. This building has, if I'm not mistaken, it has about 15 stories. But this stories is missing 2 stories. Let's say 15 stories. So 15 stories means you go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way to 15. But this story building is actually missing the stories 6 and 7. Why? because the sixth and the seventh, which is supposed to be a story, is actually a highway. So the highway runs directly through the building. And if you are in the building, you don't realize, you don't feel that there is any automobile driving through the building. So whoever did the design, he himself did not physically have to build it. He has to draw it on a paper or on a computer or whatever, and then he is the brain behind that architectural construction. So in the same way, Lord Krishna gives the design, he gives the direction to Lord Brahma for Lord Brahma to build and create all the different planetary systems, the inhabitants, and how they live. So we know that in this material world, there are 8 material elements. 5 of these 8 are gross, 3 are subtle. Earth, water, air, fire, ether. These are gross materials. And then the subtle elements, mind, intelligence, ego, they are the subtle. But different beings have a different amount of these different elements. And depending on the composition of these different elements, different beings are designed to live in a particular zone, in a particular condition, without any problems. Just like you and me, because we have more of the earth element than the water element, we comfortably live on the earth planet without any problems. But the fish, even though it has earth element in it, but it has more water element in it. Therefore, it comfortably lives in the water bodies. It cannot live on a land. That is not how Lord Brahma, through material nature, designed the fish. So the fish, because the constitution of the water element is more than the rest of the other elements, the fish is able to live comfortably in the bodies of water. And even not all waters are the same. They are all liquid, they are all fluid, but they are not the same. The ocean water is different from the river water. The river water is different from the sea water. And so different beings, even though are all designed to live in water, there are some beings, there are some fish that cannot live in certain types of water bodies. For example, we have a fish called the mud fish. The mud fish only lives in pools and streams and rivers. But mudfish cannot live in the ocean. There are some fish in the ocean that cannot also live in any body of water other than the ocean, because their body is designed to absorb more saline, more salt. And so if they find themselves in an environment, even though it is water, but does not have the amount of saline constituent, then it cannot survive. And so of all the different planetary systems within this universe and all other universes, different bodies are designed to accommodate these different planets. And they all live in these different planets comfortably. One with a different body cannot live comfortably on another environment where it is designed for a different type of body. For example, it is said that this human body is a weighted body. The bodies of higher beings like the angels and the demigods, their bodies are called weightless bodies. It is weightless, and that is why they can fly, they can float. So previously, Srila Prabhupada explained that even in this material world, this Earth planet, this particular Earth planet, if you from one country, Srila Prabhupada actually used Europe and America as examples, that Europe, America, because they are kind of developed, more developed than some other countries. Countries that are not as developed as these developed countries, they are very much restricted as to how they make it possible for them to come to these, to the so-called developed countries. You have to have a visa, you have to have a passport, and you should be allowed entry. If you are not allowed entry to enter into the country and you enter, you become a criminal and you could get arrested. And so in the same way, there are different planets within this universe, but one has to qualify himself in order to be able to travel to such different planets. So Srila Prabhupada says that the scientific approach of trying to visit the moon, to go to the moon planet, is not going to be so easy because one cannot forcibly enter into another person's country without being authorized. So if the denizens of the moon planet have not given any entry rights to any foreigners, any immigrants, for them to enter into their planet, how do they enter? And more so, they are more sophisticated and more advanced than us. So if they want to punish us, it's very easy for them to punish us. But anyway, Srila Prabhupada is explaining that there are different planetary systems within this universe, and it will be very unwise for anyone to assume that because he's been able to detect that there are different planets, but they are unable to find human beings like we earthly beings on those different planets, means that those planets are empty and vacant. And it makes a lot of sense because even in this material world, no one, no matter how rich you are, will build houses and just want to see the houses not occupied. Who builds houses just for the sake of building without anybody occupying their houses? And so if in human civilization, we build houses and we make sure that people are living in those houses, it doesn't matter what they do in the houses, but nevertheless, there will be people living in there. So if we are intelligent enough to do that, what to speak of the Supreme Lord? That the Supreme Lord will create a planet like Mars, Venus, Jupiter, Saturn, and there is nobody living on those planets? That would be a waste of energy and resources. So the Supreme Lord is not as wasteful as we might think. But there are other living beings living on those planets that are not very much visible to us. We cannot see them with these gross eyes. Srila Prabhupada gives examples that oftentimes we become so proud of our eyes. We say, show me this, show me that, show me this, show me that. But how much can we see with these two eyes? Srila Prabhupada explains, in the dark of the night, when the lights go off, you cannot even find your own hands. You have your own hands attached to your body. You raise your hand, you cannot see it. We cannot see what is too far away from us, and we cannot see what is too close to us. I'm sitting in my room here, and therefore I cannot see what is going on in the temple. I cannot see what is going on in another country. I have this microphone in front of me. It's not too far away from me. It is not too close to me. Therefore, I'm able to see it. But what about my eyelids? My eyelids are just too close to my eyes, and therefore I cannot see my own eyelids. So these eyes that we oftentimes brag about, that show me this, I want to see this, I want to see that. Srila Prabhupada helps us to understand that these eyes are useless. Even with our own wristwatch, you have a wristwatch. You look at your watch to look at the time. But sometimes you look at your watch, you move your eyes, and someone asks you what time it is, and you still can't tell the person what time it is. Because when you looked at your watch, your mind did not direct you to look at the time. You just looked at the wristwatch, but you did not pay attention to seeing what time it is. So the eyes themselves are useless without the help, even of the mind. And therefore, if we always want to believe in things that these eyes can see, if the eyes cannot see, we do not believe. If we become like so skeptical that anything the eyes cannot see does not exist, cannot be truth, then we will be deceiving ourselves, because there are so many things these eyes cannot see. But the mere fact that the eyes cannot see does not mean that they do not exist. So Srila Prabhupada explains again in the purport that of all the different planets, there are different living beings with different specially designed bodies tailored to live comfortably in those particular planets. In this material world, for you and me as human beings, we cannot withstand too much heat. We cannot withstand too much cold. But there are some creatures, if the temperature is not below freezing point, they will die. They only survive in environments where the temperature is very, very, very low, very, very cold. Like in the Antarctica, where temperatures can fall like below 65, 70 degrees, minus 65, 70 degrees. If you and me should find ourselves in an environment like that, within 5 minutes, just 5 minutes, our whole bodily blood circulation is going to cease and we're going to die. We're going to die. But there are some creatures that are designed by the divine creator to live, survive, and enjoy in such environments. If one studies this subject called microbiology, micro, that is very, very minute, very small, biology. Bio means life, and then logy, study. So if one studies the life of very, very, very minute creatures in this Earth planet, you realize that there are some microbes. They are living things. These microbes only survive in temperatures that is extremely, extremely cold. If you take them out of such extreme cold environment, instantly they die. Similarly, there are some creatures that are designed to live only in very, very hot environment. And so there are some creatures, like there is this vegetable, cayenne, pepper, hot pepper. If hot pepper touches your eye, touches my eye now, we are in big trouble. But there are some creatures, they are designed to live comfortably in these hot peppers. And if you bring them out of this hot pepper, they die. That is how they are designed. And so all these planets, few that we know about, materially speaking, few that we know about, we do not find any living entity there. Mostly we do not. But we do not see them, we do not find them because they are of a different constitution. Their body type is different from what we can see and perceive with our naked senses. And because we do not see them, we concluded that they do not exist. There are germs, there are viruses, bacteria that mostly we cannot see with our naked eyes. But with the help of electronic microscope, we can see these creatures, these microbes. And someone with the help of this electronic microscope can see that, oh, there is this creature. It is like this, it's like that, it's like this, it's like that. And so in the Vedic scriptures, it is said that Sri Narada Muni, we all know Naradaji, he is a spaceman. He travels to all different planets without any restriction. Why? Because he's been blessed and has been designed to travel to all planets within the universe freely. And in fact, even to travel to the Vaikuntha planets beyond the material sky freely. Now, Narada Muni, who has this ability to travel to all these different planets, tell us that all these different planets are filled with living beings. And therefore, what is one of the main reasons why Narada Muni travels to all different planets? He travels to all different planets to preach Krishna consciousness. And therefore, this should even remind us that in all walks of life, in all different planets, the opportunity to hear about Krishna and render some service to Krishna is available. It only differs in relationship to proportion. The proportionality of how much opportunity one may have to render service to Guru and Krishna is obviously different. But the fact remains that in all walks of life, in all different planetary systems, the Supreme Lord makes it available and possible for living entities to render service to Krishna and make advancement. Now, if one serves the Supreme Lord or serves the devotees of the Lord, one makes advancement towards going back to Godhead. When one becomes negligent and refuses to render service to Guru and the devotees of the Lord, then the chance of going back to Godhead becomes very much impeded. Very, very much impeded. So, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, there are so many places, where Srila Prabhupada and the great sages of the Lord, great devotees of the Lord, tell us about what goes on in different parts of the world, of the universe. In fact, just yesterday, I was having a discussion with this great Harichakra Prabhu, and we were saying that in the world of the higher beings, we have personalities like the Ashwini Kumaras. These Ashwini Kumaras are said to be the physicians. Now, if the Ashwini Kumaras are physicians, and these Ashwini Kumaras are not on this earth planet, they have their own planet. We have other personalities like Kartikeya, who is an army commander. If there were not to be troubles going on in their environment, why would they have an army commander? And why would Narada Muni travel to all these different planets and tell the beings living on those different planets, hey, my dear brothers, my dear sisters, worship Narayan, worship Lord Vishnu. It is your right to worship the Supreme Lord. You are eternally indebted to worship the Supreme Lord. You've forgotten. I'm coming around to remind you. So, wherever we may be, and especially where we are at, we are very fortunate. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, and we've come to understand that the Supreme Lord came here and performed so many amazing pastimes. And because the Supreme Lord himself has come here and performed so many wonderful pastimes, and because the Supreme Lord has sent his stalwart, selfless devotees to come here to perform pastimes, to teach us how to go back to Godhead, this particular place, this particular moment is so auspicious that when one takes advantage of the presence of the Supreme Lord and his pure devotees, one will surely go back to Godhead. There is a pastime of Jagannath Das Babaji, who is the spiritual master of Golkishore Das Babaji. So, Jagannath Das Babaji, is Golkishore Das Babaji a disciple of Jagannath Das Babaji? How does the parampara go? We have Jagannath Das Babaji, we have Jagannath Das Babaji, Bhakti Vinod, and then Golkishore, and then Bhakti Siddhanta. I think that is how it is. If I did not get it right, somebody may correct me later on or now. But Jagannath Das Babaji, it's said that he was blessed, he lived to be very, very, very old. Jagannath Das Babaji lived for 147 years. And he was tall, but because of his age, he was curled like a moth. But even though he was so weak, up to the point that he was unable to walk, his personal disciple used to carry him in a basket. But he was especially empowered to try to recover all the lost spiritual sites in Vrindavan and Navadvip. So it is said that one time, of course, this Jagannath Das Babaji used to live 6 months in Vrindavan, 6 months in Navadvip. So one time his personal servant had to take him from Navadvip to Vrindavan. And when they got to Vrindavan, he was feeling hungry. So he asked his personal servant to go to one Sudra and ask him for something to eat. So the disciple says, my dear Lord, how can you ask me to go to this servant? He's just a sweeper, to go ask for something to eat. So he said, oh, you go. So he went and then spoke to this sweeper that my guru has asked me to come and see you. My guru wants you to give him something to eat. So this sweeper knew Jagannath Das Babaji that he was a very stalwart Vaishnava. Vaishnavas are actually higher than Brahmins. So he said, my dear revered Brahmin, you know that I cannot offer you anything to eat. I am untouchable. I am Sudra. In fact, I am a mlecha. I cannot offer you anything. So he said, no, offer me something to eat. So he offered him something like a chapati. And everybody saw that Jagannath Das Babaji had received food from this sweeper in Vrindavan. And so when these people saw what had happened, of course they know that Jagannath Das Babaji was not an ordinary devotee. So they sent some elders to go and ask him. He says, Baba, we saw what you did, but you know you're not supposed to do that. We do not understand, but we want to understand from you. Why would you do that? You know it's offensive. And Jagannath Das Babaji sat them down and educated them. He says, you know what? Lord Brahma, the secondary creator of the entire planetary systems within this universe, is begging and praying to Narayan to be able to come to Vrindavan here and immerse himself in the dust of Vraj. Lord Brahma is praying to come to Vraj and dip himself into the dust of Vrindavan. Why? Because the Supreme Lord himself has come here and stepped his lotus feet on this glorious land. So if Lord Brahma is praying to come to this Vrindavan and dive himself into the dirt, so-called dirt, dust of Vrindavan, and this particular person is always sweeping Vrindavan here, who can be more gracious and more merciful than him? So he defeated them. This same Jagannath Das Babaji, you see, because we are not evolved spiritually, we have so much restrictions, we have so much impediments. But naturally, by our constitutional nature, we are not bound by anything. it is said that the living entity is of the superior nature of the Supreme Lord. Generally, there are two natures, the superior nature and the inferior nature, or the spiritual nature and the material nature. So we have material nature, which is the external energy, and then we have the spiritual world, which is the spiritual energy. And the living entity, you and me, belong to the spiritual energy. But because we have the tendency to either remain in that spiritual environment or in the material environment, we are considered to be marginal because we can fall into either way. Now, Jagannath Das Babaji again was approached by two dacoits. They were landlords, and so they were rich, and they wanted to verify from Jagannath Das Babaji how powerful he was, how mystical he was. Because to many people in general, when you say somebody is spiritual, you're expecting wonders. You're expecting somebody doing things that are incapable of ordinary people doing. So they went to Jagannath Das Babaji and they asked, Baba, can you show us some miracle? And Jagannath Das Babaji was stomping the earth with his walking stick. Boom, 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 boom. And these two guys became very much fearful of themselves. They says, oh, we are offending Baba. Baba is very mad with us. Okay, let's go away. And so when they said that and they started walking away, Jagannath Das Babaji said, no, I'm not upset with you. I was hitting the earth with my walking stick because there are some goats that are chewing the tulsi leaves in Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. And this happened in Navadvip. He was in Navadvip, and Rupa Goswami's Samadhi was not in Navadvip. It was far away. So he says, how? How can you stand here and see what's going on at such a distant place? And so this was in the 1800s. So the only means of verifying was to make a telegram call. So these two guys made a telegram call. And that very moment, it was evident that there were goats that were eating the tulsi leaves in the compound of Rupa Goswami's Samadhi. So it is said that the pure devotees of the Lord are very, very mystically powerful, but they do not demonstrate, they do not display, except in rare occasions they display. And even when they do, it is not conscious, it just comes automatically. And so there are different living beings on different planets endowed with different mystical powers that they can do so many things beyond the comprehension of we, the earthly beings. Srila Prabhupada explains that the higher beings in the higher planets like Tapaloka, Siddhaloka, they are all born with Siddhic powers. They don't have to sit down to do yoga posture, meditation, or whatever, in able to know what's going on in other parts of the universe, or to move from one planet to another. They are there. They can see it because they are endowed with that possibility. And so Parikshit Maharaj wants to find out from Shukadev Goswami how all these different constellations have come about and how the Supreme Lord has created these different beings to inhabit these different planets. And like I said, as we are very much fortunate, we study in the Srimad Bhagavatam, we will come to a point where Shukadev Goswami himself will be explaining this particular question put forth to him by Maharaj Parikshit. But reading the purpose of His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada, has allowed me to say something little about this complex topic, about the creation of these different planetary systems, the stars, the islands, the great sages, and why they are all designed differently. Of course, we know that we are all designed differently based on where we live. The pig is designed to live in filthy places. And so if you keep the pig from filth, the pig is not going to be happy with you. If you gave the hawk in the sky a beautiful water to live in, it's not going to be happy. And that is why we read from the scriptures how Gajendra found himself in such a difficult position. Because Gajendra is an elephant and now finds himself in this water which is not his habitat. And therefore, even though Gajendra as an elephant is much, much stronger than the crocodile, but because the crocodile was in its habitat, he was able to overcome the Gajendra until Gajendra had to pray to the Supreme Lord for a divine intervention. So all living entities are created and designed differently to live comfortably in different environments, in different planets. And the purpose of these different living entities living on different planets with different systems designed is all due to one's desires. But we understand that no matter what desires we may have, if they are not spiritual, we will keep hovering, moving from one planet to another, within this hub of material existence. If we want to get out of this material hub of existence, then we have to perform devotional service. Because Krishna says, Bhaktiya mama bijananti. I can only be known, I can only be experienced by devotional service, nothing else. Not mystical powers, not karma yoga, not tantras, nothing but bhakti. And we are fortunate, we are given the science of bhakti. And if we take it serious and practice it to our utmost ability, sincerely, then the rest will be taken care of by Krishna and the pure devotees of the Lord. So I would like to end here and see if any devotee may have a question, comment, realizations you may want to add to what Srila Prabhupada has said and what I have also said in this particular text 2.8.15 of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna.
Hi, Krishna. Please set my obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Gurudev, all glories to the wonderful and amazing practitioners of the Vaishnava tradition. I do apologize for being late. I really feel like I have missed a nourishing meal by not being here earlier. It is to my detriment that I did not hear. But I will say, Prabhu, dear brother, that this science of bhakti, it sparked in me, your last statement sparked in me a charge and inspiration to understand deeper what you just said. And so scientific, it helps us to understand that it's serious, it's not airy, you know what I mean? It's not all just about intangibles. But when I think about what you said in that way, the science of bhakti, it makes me go, well, science, let's take that word, for example. It's an observation. It's an organizational practice. It's an endeavor. It's something you're striving for on multiple levels. So it's with the mind, it's with the eyes, it's with the heart, it's with the hands, it's with the soul. And when I think of it like that, and again, it was how you were saying it. When I put up that flame, it means it sparked something within me about this practice from a scientific level that we can go into deeper. And that's what it says in Shastra, using every part of our body. When Guru Maharaj danced in Kirtan, when he sang, he was like, actually, I do remember this. I don't know where, because I'm not sastrically inclined like yourself and the other Prabhus. But I do know that in Chaitanya Charitamrita, it actually references using every part of your body in honoring Krishna through kirtan, the dancing, the chanting, the singing. Raise your hands up in the air, wave them like you just don't care. Jump, move, feel it. It is not a dry practice. It is not a dull practice. This practice of bhakti is alive and it's full of flavor. Thank you, brother. I so appreciate you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Ms. Ravina Devi. Thank you so much. Uh, I was just thinking of something. I think I've said this a couple times. We used to have one friend who was a Christian spiritualist who used to do astral travel, astral projection. He used to travel to other planets. And somehow I came to know him because he became friends with the devotees. Because in his travels, he sometimes encounters devotees. He encounters beings who dress the way devotees dress. Dhoti, tilak, sikha. And from this particular spiritualist, it says, these beings he sometimes encounters with are like 6 feet width. In other words, from one rib to the other rib is 6 feet wide. Now, we cannot imagine to find a human being on this earth like that. But there are beings of that stature, that size, and they are not considered obese like we will consider such people on this earth planet. That is their structure. An example of that is when Putana changed herself and assumed a human-like form like those of us on this earth planet. She came just like any other woman, beautifully dressed, sari, nice sari. But when Krishna punished her and she had to go back to her original form, her form was like a mountain. When Putana's form appeared like that, it was not like she assumed another form. That was her actual form. But the form with which she came to breastfeed Krishna was a form she assumed. So there are different sizes, structures, shapes of different beings on different planets, but they are all living beings living on these different planets, all based on their desires. I remember one god brother of mine, I don't know where he is at the moment, but he used to tell me, and few other devotees, that he is not prepared to go back to God at this lifetime because he wants to be popular in this earth planet, no matter what, before he goes back to Godhead. And how popular does he want to become? He wants to become as popular as like Sai Baba. Everybody knows Sai Baba. That is his desire, which I think, excuse me to say, is a very childish desire. But that is his desire. So if someone has the desire to have the weight of as huge as you can ever imagine, so he can enjoy whatever food he wants to enjoy, well, material nature will provide you that body. If you want to fly, go here, material nature will give you that body. Not just bird alone, but if you lived a pious life, you could enter into higher planets where naturally you'll be born with the ability to fly and enter into different planets. Srila Prabhupada talks of, I don't remember the name, but Srila Prabhupada talks of a particular bird that uses different planets as its tree. You know, birds fly from one tree to another, but this particular bird, those who do not know will say it's myth, it's mythology. It's not myth. But this particular bird travels from one planet to another. It flies and then it rests on one tree. That tree is a planet. We cannot fathom. There are so many things that this mind we have cannot understand because we are very much covered. And the only thing that can save us is studying the scriptures under the lotus feet of a bona fide spiritual master in association of like-minded devotees. And then so many things will be revealed to us that ordinarily we will never be able to understand. And that is why our teachings talk about revealed knowledge. It's not just reading black and white. That you may know some things, but you may not understand. In order for you to understand, it has to be the grace and the mercy of the devotees and the Supreme Lord. So we go to Govinda Prabhu, please, if you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, Sadhe Prabhu, thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Very well.
And never pranam, so glorious to Gurudev, and all glories to you, and all glories to your wonderful presentation. Krishna Bhagavatam, thank you. Very nice. See, we're talking of planets and its inhabitants. We understand that in Vaikuntha Loka, the denizens there all have 4 hands, just like Lord Narayan. And coming down here to this, our human platform, especially here on Earth planet, we have 2 hands and 2 legs, 1 head. So if we see a human being who has 3 legs and 3 hands with 2 heads, then we will consider such a being as abnormal. When we go down to bodies like sheep, if you see sheep with four legs, if you see a sheep with, naturally, sheep or goat supposed to have 4 legs, and all other 4-legged animals.
Yeah.
So if you see such animals with 5 or 6 legs, then they will look very strange, because it is not normal. Anyway, so the question that I have is about Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma, our Lord Brahma has 4 heads, and there are other Brahma that has thousands and millions of heads. So the inhabitants in Brahma Loka, do they have the same body feature like Lord Brahma with 4 heads? Or how do they look?
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the question. I haven't come across how the inhabitants of Brahmaloka look like, but as far as I understand, only Lord Brahma has 4 heads in our universe. So it is not exactly the same as the inhabitants of Vaikuntha Loka having the same bodily features as the Lord. In Brahmaloka, only Lord Brahma has 4 heads. All others do not have 4 heads. That is what I know. But if someone else knows something better, please you may share. But to my knowledge, only Lord Brahma has 4 heads within our entire universe.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering.
Yeah.
Lord Brahma is the master of our universe.
Yeah.
And Lord Brahma has his own planet and is living with people. And it is understood that those when there's a time for Lord Brahma to go back to Godhead, everybody is going with him. Those there are going with him. So yeah, I was wondering if they have the same futures like Lord Brahma.
Yeah. If nobody has read anything about this question, maybe it's a very good assignment for all of us to do when we leave here. Today is Friday. I think Govinda Prabhu is giving us a very nice homework. But as we sit
It's
here,
a homework.
yeah, it's a homework. As we sit here, my little understanding is that throughout our universe, Lord Brahma is the one understood to have 4 heads. Sometimes there are other beings that may also have 4 heads, but it's a manifestation. They just manifest that way. It is not how they are in their normal life. I think Shrimavara Prabhu may have something to share in this regard. Prabhuji, please, you may unmute.
Hare Krishna, how glories to
Hare Krishna,
Prabhupada.
Prabhuji.
Thank you for your wonderful presentation. Yeah, you've already answered the question by saying that only Brahma has 4 heads. Brahma has children, the 25 sages, and none of them has 4 heads. They were with him in his loka.
Yeah.
Narada is his son. He does not have 4 heads. Brahma Kumaras are his children. Urgumuni, all of them, they don't have 4 heads. So I think we can rightly say, that the inhabitants of Brahma do not have 4 heads. Also, I think there is some other ways of addressing Brahma, like Aja and other names which describe him alone as 4-headed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Yeah.
so that's just a small contribution to say that you already answered. It's true that only he has 4 heads in our universe.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. It's great, Shimavara Acharya Prabhu. Well, that is a good food for thought. Hare Krishna.
Check check the chat room. Check the chat room.
Oh, okay, let me see. Okay, so Salika Prabhu is saying that Agni Dev has 2 heads, and there are some other gods with different numbers of heads. Well, that I didn't know. But like I was saying it that in the scriptures, you sometimes come across other beings with different numbers of heads. But those number of heads is not their normal everyday form. They assume such forms. For example, we have Ganapati with an elephant head. That was not his original form. Something happened that his head had to be chopped off. And of course, we know how he had the elephant head. Daksha's head was chopped off and was replaced by a goat's head. So it's there, but that was not the original bodily feet of Daksha or of Ganapati. Similarly, I am of the opinion, just like buttressed by Shima Baran, that in the abode of Lord Brahma, it is not that everyone who goes to Brahmaloka instantly develops 4 heads. Because the 4 heads awarded to Lord Brahma is meant for a particular purpose. It is meant for delivering the 4 Vedas. I do not know if others have been empowered to deliver the 4 Vedas, and as such have been awarded 4 heads. But like you're saying that Agni Dev has 2 heads and some okay, Lord Murugam is also known as Arumugam, meaning 6 faces, through which he has the ability to see towards east, west, north, south, sky, and earth. Okay, the 6 faces are made up of the 5 faces of Lord Shiva, which is Panchavaktra Shiva, plus the face of Goddess Uma Devi. That's beautiful to learn. I think it's coming from Salika Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Govinda Prabhu.
Yeah, so I have a second question.
Okay.
You were explaining so nicely about our vision not so advanced to see things beyond the limit of this our physical eyes. But in actuality, so many things are going on around us that we cannot see. We don't have the ability to see because of our eyes' limitations. And so there is a physical realm, there is a subtle realm, and also the spiritual realm. So the moon planet Sun, Jupiter, all these planetary systems, do we consider them as physical realms or subtle realms? I ask this question because there is a Srila Prabhupada highly disagree. The scientists claiming to be on a moon planet. I think somebody is making so much noise. If that person can please check what is that, so you can.
Yeah.
Thank you. So Srila Prabhupada highly disagreed with the scientists claiming to be on a moon planet. But of late, I think some of our devotees are starting believing that the scientists have been on moon planet. And like in the course of your lectures, you were also mentioning things like that, that if one even happened to be on a moon planet, because the scientists claim that they've been on moon planet, but they did not say anything. They did not find any living entities there. And you try to explain that. How can Krishna create such a wonderful place without any, without any inhabitants, without putting people there? So that is a very high, level of argument, proving that if people think that this place are void of entities, they are wrong. That is true. So if the scientists could go as far as to the moon planet, which is supposedly, if it is subtle realm, then they could as well see what is there. Because if they can actually go there, because it's supposed to be a subtle realm, so how did they manage to get themselves there in the first place?
Well, Hare Krishna. I am not sure if I can give a definitive answer to this wonderful question. But what I know is that Srila Prabhupada said the scientists did not go to the moon planet the time they claimed that they had been to the moon planet. Srila Prabhupada challenged everybody that they did not go. And in fact, the same scientists have come out openly to prove that actually they did not visit the moon planet that time. Now, Srila Prabhupada himself has also stated that a time will come that the people of this world can willfully travel to other planets, like the moon planet, and see things for themselves. Now, when Srila Prabhupada speaks that way, my understanding to that is that when the people of this material earth planet become so advanced in the yogic process, then many of us may be able to travel to these places and see things for ourselves. Now, according to Vedic cosmology, from Earth, you go to the sun. From the sun, you go to Rahu. From Rahu, you go to the moon, which is completely different from what material scientists tell us. Material scientists tell us from Earth, you go to the moon. From the moon, you go to the sun. You get the difference. Material scientists say Earth, moon, sun. The Vedic literature, Srimad Bhagavatam, says Earth, Sun, Rahu, Moon. And the scientists say what they say because they admit that the sun planet is so hot that no human being can approach that planet. So if one cannot approach that planet, then how do you cross to go to the moon? And therefore, material scientists, to defend their claim that they've been to the moon, say that from Earth, you go to moon, and then you go to sun, which is contrary to what Srimad Bhagavatam says. Srimad Bhagavatam says, from Earth, you go to sun, and then from sun, you go to Rahu, and then Rahu, you go to the moon. But I think we have something from Tribhuvanat. Tribhuvanat Prabhu, please, you may unmute. Okay, good.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Thank you so much. You dealt with this local so much. I hope some background is there, right?
Yeah. I muted him.
Okay. Prabhu, if we look at this particular chapter we're dealing with, it's like Parishit is raising questions. Yeah. So one will imagine what is Parishit's intention in raising this kind of question? Somebody who is supposed to die in 7 days, just like somebody is asking a doctor, I want to know what happens in the other world. Doctor is not very much concerned with other world. So I think the doctor have two options. Either you live or you try to take some medication that I will try to, enhance you with. So like, was it somehow fearful or something? That is one question. Maybe you can touch it, then the second one will come later. Thank you.
Thank you so much, True, for that, because I'm laughing because I have asked myself the same question. I said, this Parikshit Maharaj, what is up with him? You're dying and you want to know what you need to do to save yourself. And now you're asking all these questions. And then it dawned on me that Maharaj Parikshit actually wasn't very much concerned about his dying. And in fact, Srila Prabhupada, I think the next text or two, Srila Prabhupada explains that Maharaj Parikshit was behaving like a typical Vaishnava. And a typical Vaishnava, we'll come across it, a typical Vaishnava is one who asks questions for the benefit of the general people. So Maharaj Parikshit was asking all these questions for the benefit of people like you and me who want to know about the mightiness, the almightiness of the Supreme Lord and how the Supreme Lord has created all these different bodies and has hung them in space. Srila Prabhupada explains that all the universes are like egg-shaped. They are like a balloon. So they are all floating like inflated balloon. How does this heavy planets get suspended in space? And that tells you how great Lord Krishna is. So my little understanding, because I also asked myself this question, which I have not asked anybody. I wish I was you asking this question, Tribhuvanat Prabhu, because I have asked this question, and the only reason I came up with, I do not know how true it is that Maharaj Parikshit is asking these questions for the benefit of the people in general who will come to read these exchanges of questions and answers. Otherwise, a dying man has no need to knowing about all these things. I remember my Guru Dev Solenus Swami Maharaj, when he was about to leave, he was saying that, listen, I'm a dying man. I'm going to die very soon. And you know, for a dying man, he has no time to play jokes. So everything I'm telling you is a fact. It's truth, it's serious. So Maharaj Parikshit, even though he knew he was going to leave, he had accepted, yes, this is the Lord's plan. And he has accepted it. But he was trying to see how best he can help the people in general. Just like Vasudeva Datta. He knew that he's going to die, but yet he wanted to take up all the suffering of the 11 entities. So he goes to hell and everybody goes back home, back to Godhead. So that's my little understanding to this beautiful question. And please, somebody should add to what I said.
Yes, Prabhu, before somebody asks, you know, yes. I was just looking at this, the questions also, and trying to reflect on Srila Prabhupada, you know, view. Parishit, as you have, you know, rightly explained, which is acceptable, that just for the inquisitive mind to see something beyond just the physical, that is, and also get some information that are relevant, you know, in day-to-day life. But it's quite different from the way Prabhupada approach things, you know. Prabhupada said, look at what Prabhupada said. He said, your love for me, you know, your love for me can grow. What did he say? Your love for me. How did he use that word again? Just
will be determined by how much you love each other, or you say
by how much you both cooperate, by how much you both cooperate.
Yes,
you know, to push this message forward. You know, after I have, you know,
I'm gone.
Gone. So Prabhupada was not actually trying to let us know something beyond. It's just how we can function, you know, to see that a lot of people get informed about what life is all about. So these ones are just you know, a digression. But the point on that, the question I want to a little bit second question I want to throw again is when Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, he said, by the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant.
Yeah.
By the laws of the Lord, there is no, he mentioned in the purport.
Yes.
There's no place is vacant.
Yeah.
So if I don't have any vacant place to stay, if I have no vacant place to stay, so what do I supposed to learn? You get the point? Okay. I'm doing bhakti because I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
And here I'm being told that there is no vacant. So what is my fit?
Oh, okay. I see your question. When Srila Prabhupada says that no place is vacant, does not necessarily mean that there is no space or there is no room for somebody to live there. But what Srila Prabhupada was saying is that it is not a place left in vacuum, that there is nobody there, there is nothing there. Yeah. But there is, like Jesus Christ said in the Bible, it says, in my Father's house are many mansions. You know, if it were not so, I would not have come to tell you so. So there is unlimited space in the unlimited spiritual sky. Even in this material world, it's, even though it's limited, but it's still unlimited. Because even material scientists tell us that they cannot count all the different planets. Every now and then they're discovering one planet here, one planet over there. But when Srila Prabhupada uses the word no vacancy, means that there is no planet created without any being occupying. Every planet is occupied by some beings.
Now the word there, Prabhu, the word there is it said by the laws of the Lord. By the laws of the Lord. That is, the Lord has already, he only bring it up light for us to think of. he bring it to life for us to think about, to ponder on it. He
Yeah.
said, by the laws of the Lord. It's not really his words, by the laws of the Lord, just like we have the laws of the land.
Yeah.
So he said, by the laws of the Lord. He said, no place is
Yeah.
vacant.
If we continue,
no place is vacant.
Yeah. If we continue on the same, let me put it up here because you're bringing up a very important topic. Srila Prabhupada says in the purport that by the laws of the Lord, no place is vacant. And then let's continue. But the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. So this is what Srila Prabhupada means by no place is vacant. That because you do not find same beings as your type in one environment, does not mean that that place is vacant. There are other beings there. They just happen to be different from us. But the creatures of one particular place are different from those of other places. And Srila Prabhupada goes ahead, he says, even in human society, the inhabitants of the jungles or the deserts are different from those of the cities and villages. So if we go to the jungle, we cannot assume that the jungle is vacant. There are other beings inhabiting the jungle, but they are of different nature. They are different creatures. So that is my understanding about why Srila Prabhupada is using by the laws of the Lord, and no place is vacant. And if I may continue here, what I was saying, I didn't want to talk much about that because that is what is going to be discussed next Monday, which is the next verse, 2:8:16. Srila Prabhupada says that Maharaj Parikshit is a typical devotee of Lord Krishna, and as such, he is anxious to know the complete significance of the creation of the Lord. So just like, what's the name? Tribhuvanath, you were saying, this is just the nature of the devotees of the Lord, because they know that the Lord is unlimited. And even though they know something about the Lord, but nobody knows everything about the Lord. So that inquisitiveness, that eagerness of knowing more about the Lord and how the Lord does things is always satisfying to the devotees. Even though the devotee might not need it to go back to Godhead, but it's just a relation to knowing how Krishna does things and why he does things. I don't know if my answer to your beautiful question helped in any way.
Nice, Prabhuji, yeah. Well, thank you. Because yes, what His Holiness Gopal Krishna will say that he's Srila Prabhupada's man. You are Srila Prabhupada's man. You don't leave the purpose.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Prabhuji.
Yeah, bro. Thank you for your beautiful, response.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Oh, Anadi Niranam Prabhu. Please, you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. And then about pranams.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
I really enjoyed Tupu Prabhu's question as well as the answers that you gave. It's really amazing. So, Prabhu, we are living on this planet whereby even though we have the two naked eyes, but there are some beings that we are living with that we cannot see with these eyes of ours. So could it be possible that in the other realms also, even though they are also living there, but they can also have other beings there that they cannot also see? I don't know if my question is clear.
Yeah, I do. Yes, excuse me. There are other beings on different planets that may be very much limited to just what's going on in their planet, not somewhere else. But there may also be many others in that same planet who understand what's going on other planets, and not just simply understanding what's going on other planets. They themselves can go there. Just like we are here and we hear about Arjun. Arjun was on this Bharatvash land, but he went to the Netherlands, the underworld, and married, I've forgotten the name, is it Aravan or something? The snake, the snake world. Salika, Tribhuvanat, Arichakra, Varaha, anyone can help? The son, there was one Mataji that Arjun married, and these beings, they are snakes in their world. The sun does not reach there. They have special jewel on their forehead, which is served as source of light in their world, in their planet. Arjun went there and married one of the ladies, and this lady came up on this earth planet and gave birth. And in fact, the child from that relationship was also helping Arjun in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. I think it starts with Aravan or something. But even on this earth planet, some beings with training and practice can go into different planets and participate in activities there and then come back here. Even again, on this earth planet, there are some beings. I remember His Holiness Mahavishnu Swami Maharaj once came to Ghana, and you know me with my questions. I asked Maharaj what the Vedic scriptures say about witchcrafts. And Maharaj said, "Why are you asking me this question? You are from Africa. You should tell me how it works." So in West Africa in particular, there are people who practice black arts, or they have other sciences that they practice. Not necessarily black art, but there are other sciences that people practice that they can travel to other dimensions. They can travel to other dimensions. So Srila Prabhupada states in so many places in Srimad Bhagavatam Chaitanya Charitamrita that the great devotees that usually live with Lord Brahma on the Brahmaloka planet, they sometimes look down on earth and see how the living beings are suffering here. And out of compassion, they decide to come down here to preach, to help other souls to get elevated, to go back to Godhead. So if they did not see what's going on here, why would they come here? So there are, but not all of them. Just as we know ghosts are beings without gross bodies, but there are some ghosts who know the art of assuming a gross body to come and mingle with earthly beings on this earth planet. Similarly, somebody with gross bodies who knows the art can enter into the ethereal world and participate and live. Good. Ulupi. Tribhuvanat, thank you so much. Yes, his snake wife, Ulupi. Ulupi. But I think the child was Aravan or something like that. But the wife's name is Ulupi from the snake world. Even though it's a snake, but Arjun was not sleeping with a snake. Arjun was sleeping with a human-like being, because these entities can assume different forms. No. We also can assume different forms, but unless one has been trained, one cannot ordinarily do it. One cannot ordinarily do it. Well, I think we'll bring the class to a close here. Thank you, Tribunal. Except somebody has something to say.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. I'm
Hare
driving,
Krishna,
please. The sound may not be so clear. Well, the question of Anandi Nidanam is very interesting, and just a little contribution to that.
Sure.
We're living in a multi-dimensional world. We're living in a multi-dimensional world. So not just our own planet, but the whole universe is multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
So that makes it possible that people in other dimensions may not see everyone in their own environment also. Because every sphere of existence is multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
We are here on Earth planet, and there are many dimensions on this Earth planet. We are three-dimensional human beings. But then the reptiles, the ants, they are two-dimensional. And the ants, for instance, cannot see us. They cannot see human beings standing.
Yeah.
Because the ants can only see two ways, length and breadth. They don't see height.
Yeah.
So, for instance, if you have sugar, and then the ant circle it round, if human being comes and then just take the sugar away from that circle, to the ant, it has disappeared, or a ghost has taken it, something like that. Because they cannot see height. So they are two-dimensional. And then we three-dimensional, we live with ghosts and other beings that are four-dimensional. And then you can have a box that is locked with money inside. But the fourth dimensional being can take out that money without opening the lock. Because they have the other side of the dimension depth, which we don't have. So, and then that it goes on. Even in the fourth dimension, then the ghost also cannot perceive people, other beings that are fifth dimension or sixth dimension. So the whole material creation is multidimensional at almost every aspect. So that answers your question that it is also possible. Not only that it's possible, it happens that in other spheres, beings that are there may not be able to see all the other beings that are present. That is just natural because the whole material universe is multidimensional. All right, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Well, thank you so much, His Grace Shrimavara. Thank you. And thank you so much for the beautiful question, Anandi Nidanam Prabhu. Before we go, I think 3 or so days ago when Maharaj spoke, I was talking about Vaishnavi sannyasis. You remember? I tried researching that and I have not come across that. I have not come across women sannyasi. What I've come across is women guru, not necessarily women sannyasi. So I think that is where we might have to rest our case. That, like Maharaj was saying, that a woman, by scripture's injunction, will have to be dependent under all circumstances in 3 different stages: as a child, as youth or adult, and as elderly. At each step, she should be under somebody's guide. And being a sannyasi means that you are on your own. It's between you and Krishna. How you're going to eat, where you're going to go, you don't even know. So, but there are some great Vaishnavis who were gurus on our sampradaya. So being a guru does not necessarily mean that you should be a sannyasi. So that is what I came up with. That is what I found, I should say. But thank you for the questions. And Truvanath helped Ulupi. Ulupi was the name of the snake wife of Arjun. And the child that came out of that combination was Iravan, who helped so much in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So Arjun was able to go to that planet, and Ulupi was also able to come to live on this Bharatavarsha. So like Srimad Acharya was saying, different dimensions. If one knows how to get himself or herself into the various dimensions, then one can do that. And that is what lots of yogis do. These present day yogis, most of them don't know anything, but the ancient yogis, they knew all these sciences. Well, Salika Prabhu, I think we'll bring this class to a close. And today is Friday. We thank you all for being here. We pray Guru and Krishna help protect us all throughout the weekend and bring us back next week, Monday. Hare Krishna.
I think yes, we can go.
So we're humbly going to request the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to the Supreme Lord for bringing us together to hear in Srimad Bhagavatam. Jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatariyascha, vipasindhivyayivacha, patitanam pavanebhyo, Vaishnavabhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai.
His grace,